I never thought something like this would happen to me, but then one evening, my wife of nearly 20 years drops a bombshell over dinner. She says, "We need to talk." My heart skips a beat and I start freaking out, thinking the worst. Has she been cheating on me? Does she want a divorce? What's gone wrong in our marriage? I stare at her, my hands shaking, and cautiously ask, "Talk about what?" Trying to stay calm, she starts off by saying, "First of all, I just want to tell you that I love." Why? So she's like, "You," and then she takes a sip of wine like she's trying to chill out or something. I couldn't help but notice she barely touched her food. I just stared at her, trying to figure out what the heck was going on. I was so on edge that I just blurted out, "Have you cheated on me, Maggie?" Her face twitched and she looked at me all wide-eyed and surprised. "No, of course not," she replied. But the way she said it, like really emphasized the word cheating, made me hella nervous. I could tell something wasn't right. Phew, thank goodness. If this isn't betrayal, then what is it? Are you ditching me? She asked, worried. "Oh God, George," she said, "where do you come up with these ideas?" "Of course I'm not leaving you, I love you." "Okay," I replied, "I love you too. I want to grow old with you and spend the rest of our lives together." Maggie's eyes sparkled and she smiled at me warmly. "Me too, George." "Then what's wrong? Are you feeling sick?" I asked, getting more worried about Maggie's health. "I'm fine, honey," she said. "Hey, I don't want to freak you out, but I feel like things have been off between us for a while now. Ever since Meredith went off to college, things just feel different. Maybe it's empty nest syndrome or a midlife crisis or something, but we seem to be stuck in a bit of a rut. I tried to chill out a bit, but I still feel anxious, wondering what's bugging Maggie." "What do you mean by rut?" I asked. "Well, we spend so much time at work that we don't have much time for each other. Your job often takes you out of town, and mine does too. Man, work keeps me stuck in the office late, even when we don't have to be there. We both end up exhausted. When was the last time we had sex?" I couldn't even remember the last time it happened when she asked. Maggie hasn't been in the mood for a while now. Every time I try to get something going, she shuts me down with some excuse. It's frustrating. Maggie agreed, saying she's always tired when I want to fool around. But back when we were young, I couldn't care less if we were tired back then. We used to have sex 3 or 4 times a week. Now, it's like once every 3 to 4 months, if that. I told her that was true, agreeing with her, but deep down I was feeling irritated. It sounded like she was blaming me for the lack of sex, even though she's the one who always says no. If it were up to me, we'd be getting busy more often. I want to shake things up and get out of this boring routine we are stuck in. She said she wants to work out all our issues so we can stay together forever. We are both feeling pretty dull, George. We need to change things up. Man, I'm not bored at all. I told her there's plenty of action in my life. Action, really? She asked with a smirk. What are you up to tonight? I replied, I'm gonna watch The Curse of Oak Island. They are supposed to uncover some big discovery tonight. As she rolled her eyes, I thought to myself, don't they say that every week and all they find is dirt and wood? Yeah, more or less, I admitted. She chuckled, sounds boring. Okay, maybe it's not thrilling, but it's cozy and easy for us. That's what happens when you've been married for a while. Hey, as long as we're being real here, I don't need you to comfort me. Maggie explained that I'm just not that into having sex with you, and I can tell you feel the same way. It's just where we are at in life right now. We've lost that spark and it's got me worried. We are both over 40 and still have a lot of years ahead of us. I'm scared that if we've already lost that romantic connection, what will we have left in a few years? How can we make this work? Well, we'll stick together because we're married. That's just what married people do. We are used to it. Hey, we are cool with each other, and who even said I'm not down for some action with you? Of course I am, we're roomies after all. George, we are more than just neighbors, we hook up every now and then and have feelings for each other. We are like roommates with occasional benefits. Yeah, I love you, George, and I know you love me too. But can you honestly say you still love me the same way you did back when we tied the knot in the Stone Age? It's different now, but I've tried to explain it's like fine wine, getting better with age. Our love has grown and mellowed as we've aged, and our sex drives aren't as strong as they used to be. Don't you miss feeling that spark and chemistry like we used to? She asked, holding my hand. I don't know, Maggie. I actually like how things are now. Sure, I wouldn't mind having sex more often, but I enjoy coming home to relax and spend time with you in peace. We've put in a lot of work to get to where we are now. It's like that old hammock in the backyard, it's been there for almost 20 years. Every year, I keep telling myself that soon I'll be able to just chill, kick back, and read a book. But now that I'm finally about to relax in this hammock, you're telling me you want to get rid of it. Maggie looked at me, thinking over my words, then shook her head. I don't get it, she said. But I'm not asking you to give up anything, dear. I'm saying we need to bring back the spark in our relationship, spice up our love life before it's too late. My sex drive isn't dead, it's just asleep. I want to feel the same way we did when we first got together. Sex used to be so hot and amazing, like we couldn't keep our hands off each other. Are you saying our sex isn't satisfying anymore? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. You're a fantastic lover, always knowing how to please me. The issue isn't that our sex is bad, it's that we hardly ever have it. What are you trying to say? I'm confused. I'm saying I want more. I feel like we are not lovers anymore, just partners. I want to feel your love again, I want to feel that spark. I love you and I'm craving passion, romance, and sex. I thought you said you didn't want sex, but do you want it or not? I want to have sex, it seems like you want to feel young again. Are you sure it's not just your hormones acting up? Are you having hot flashes? George, please don't trivialize my feelings or make me out to be a woman with hormonal issues every time I get upset. I'm not PMSing, and just because I want to reignite our love doesn't mean I'm going through menopause. Sorry, you're right, my bad. Hey, I'm just trying to figure out why you're bringing all this up out of nowhere. Honestly, it's not that surprising to me, I've been thinking about it for a while now. I'm worried that if we don't make some big changes to our relationship, our marriage won't make it. She looked like she was about to cry, and I heard what she said. Honestly, she sounded like she was just going through the motions. So if this isn't sudden, why are you bringing it up now? Why didn't you try talking to me about it before? Yo, so like, it took me forever to finally open up about this, but I had to, why I know. I didn't want things to keep festering. Maybe there was some truth in what she said. I love Maggie and I'll do whatever it takes to make things right and make her happy. So, shoot, I'm all ears. I can tell you've been thinking about this a lot and it means a lot to you. What do you think we should do? Maybe we should consider seeing a marriage counselor or even look into this intimacy coach I heard about. What do you think? That's a brilliant idea, she said with a smile, wiping a tear from her cheek. Thanks for the offer, I think we should give it a shot. But I was thinking, what else could we do? For example, let me ask you something. Your company is a creative agency, right? You keep saying you're one of the best in the business. Yeah, we are one of the top 2 in the state, and maybe one of the top 5 in the country. Why? What's that got to do with our personal lives? Do you hire the best people? Of course, we do. And how many? So, like, some of these dudes have been at your company for, like, 20 years. But your company has only been around for 6 years. We are always bringing in new talent because our industry has a lot of turnover. So, we are always getting fresh faces, new ideas, and new ways of doing things. Yeah, we are pretty innovative. Our way of working is always changing and people bring in new skills and energy, making things better for everyone. Totally, man. So, where are you headed with all this, George? Next month it will. Can you believe it's been 20 years since we tied the knot? Before that, we were together for 3 years and I never strayed, and as far as I know, you didn't either. So for almost 23 years, it's just been us in the bedroom. You were my first, and you said you only had 2 other girlfriends before me, right? I'm starting to get worried about where this is going. My stomach is in knots. Would you hire someone to work for your company if they learned their skills 23 years ago and never updated them? Hey, if your employees never tried anything new or learned anything new, would you want that? Would your company be successful if everyone just settled for mediocrity and didn't push themselves to improve? Of course not. But when it comes to work, it's a whole different story. What do you mean by that? I mean, 23 years ago, we were killing it with our advanced skills and having a blast all the time. It was fresh, exciting, and we were on top of our game. And then Meredith showed up. We went from being parents to professionals to soccer moms and basketball coaches. We got better at raising kids and advancing in our careers, but we neglected to work on our relationship. We kept doing things the same old way, just like we did 23 years ago. It got boring, the excitement wore off, and we lost that spark. What are you trying to say, Maggie? I'm saying I don't want comfort, George. I'm tired of being comfortable. I want something more. I'm looking for something new, something exciting. I want to learn new tricks and become a better lover. I want to use this to spark things up between us, to shake up our dull and cozy life. I want to fall in love all over again. I need a partner, not just a roommate. I want to feel that passion again, I need it. Okay, I said quietly, I was shaking all over. I don't know if it was from excitement or adrenaline, maybe it was my fight or flight response kicking in. I'll do whatever it takes to bring back that passion we once had. Let's have more date nights and do whatever you want. I'll cut back on watching TV so we can have a hobby or something to do together. We should travel more, you always love it. How about going somewhere new every month, even if it's just a night at a hotel in a trendy area of the city? Maggie took my hand, kissed it, then shook her head. George, I know you would do anything for me if you could. I know you think these things will make a difference, but in the end, we are still the ones doing them. We are still stuck in the same rut, nothing's gonna change. Soon we'll be over these ideas too. They are alright, but too easy. We ain't learning or trying anything new. What's your point? I was with you, but now you're losing me. So, what's the plan? Head to a resort with swingers? Hell no, she said, disgusted. I ain't about that life. I can't deal with folks trying to get us into some casual sex shenanigans. Nah, not my scene. What then? She asked, growing more and more frustrated. Man, I'm feeling pretty down. I think we need to shake things up, you know. Get a fresh start, try something new and exciting to spice up our relationship and bring back the fire in the bedroom. I was willing to try almost anything at that point. That sounds good, I'm in. How would you suggest we do that? Well, I was thinking maybe I should start seeing other people. Anything but that. I was shocked and pulled my hands away from my wife, giving her a puzzled look. Say that again, I must have misheard. I said I want to start dating other people. Okay, fine. I heard you loud and clear. All right, the first time I said, leaning back in my chair at the kitchen table. Then I leaned forward and looked at my wife as if she had lost her mind. Are you crazy? She seemed surprised by my reaction. No, not at all. I've thought about this a lot. I think this is what we need, Maggie. You've come up with some crazy ideas before, but this is too much. I don't think it's crazy, George. You will understand too if you allow me to explain my reasons. Yes, please explain. Explain how you want to improve our... Hey George, I think we need to spice things up in our relationship and bring back the passion in the bedroom. How about we see other people? Not cheating, just dating other guys. You know, like going on a real romantic date. Like if we weren't married, you know. So, are you gonna sleep with him right away or make him wait? Yo George, I didn't bring up the whole sex thing until the 5th date like you did with me. You were acting all serious about going on a real date, making it seem like you were single. But come on real dates people usually end up having sex, right? So, are you saying that sex is totally off the table when you're dating someone? No, I'm not saying that either. So, you're telling me you want to hook up with someone else? Nah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to say that I'm open to seeing where things go when we are dating and how relationships progress. So, you're not just looking to date some guy or guys, you're also looking to have sex with them and see where things go. Are you just trying to manipulate the situation to make your point, George? Yes or no? Maggie, would you ever sleep with your boyfriends? She hesitated, saying, it's not a simple yes or no. Maybe. So you're saying this is betrayal? No, that's not right. How can you not see this as cheating? You go out with some guy, have a romantic date, and then have sex. That's betrayal. I was livid, struggling to keep my cool. Things could have gotten ugly if I wasn't careful. Maggie tried to explain. Trying to act all calm and composed really annoyed her. Every time I got angry, she would act all high and mighty like she was better than me. She kept insisting it wasn't cheating because she needed my consent and approval, and she promised to tell me all the details of who she was with and what she did. But when I found out, I couldn't believe it. I shouted, "Oh my God, you not only want to cheat on me, but you also want to completely betray me. What the hell were you thinking? What the hell were you thinking when you suggested dating or sleeping with someone else? Do you honestly think I would be okay with that, George? Let's try to have a calm conversation without yelling or getting crude. I mean, really. Did you seriously think I would be okay with it? I know it's tough for you to accept, but you love me and you're a rational person. You're a smart guy, so I thought you would eventually come to your senses and see the logic in this. Listen, I'm down for supporting each other, but if you think I'm gonna be cool with you sleeping around with other guys, you're way off. I could have been doing that for years with a bunch of dudes, including your brother, your buddies, and even your boss. They've all tried to make a move on me, but I've always stayed faithful to you. I would never cheat on you, that's just not who I am. And now you're suggesting it. No way, this isn't some game to me. Hey, it's gonna be so much fun and bring some excitement into our lives. Our sex life is gonna get a boost and we'll both feel alive again. Are we in this together? Do you want me to go out with you? Well, not like actually going on dates, but more like metaphorically. You'll be at home waiting for me to come back and then I'll tell you all about it. I guess you want us to hook up afterwards. She actually blushed when I mentioned it, but she was really into it. Can you believe it? If you really loved me, you'd show me in a way that's not happening anytime soon. I said to her coldly, fine, we can skip that part. She warned me, if you don't want to mess up our marriage, you'll be missing out on more than just this. I reassured her, this won't ruin our marriage. You're sleeping with another guy, plain and simple. This isn't love, George. I'll remember this. I love you, but I don't love him. It's just going to be sex, that's all. Just sex. I stared at her for a few seconds in silence. What does all of this even mean? So basically, it means that I don't have feelings for him, and he doesn't have feelings for me either. We just want to hook up and have sex, nothing more. I kept replaying her words in my head, and I was like, okay, let me make sure I got this right. You only want to hook up with another guy? She nodded, and I asked, but why? Why do you just want to hook up with someone else? She didn't have a good answer, probably just wanted to try something new and different. So yeah, that's what it is. So basically, you're saying I'm not satisfying you in bed and you want to find someone else who can do it better. Hold up, Maggie said, that's not what I meant at all. I enjoy sex with you, you're amazing in bed. I don't want anyone else. If what you're saying is true, then you wouldn't be looking for someone else. The only reason you'd want to sleep with someone else is for an upgrade, to find someone better than me. That's not right. She was like, no way, without giving any reasons. And I was like, come on, think about it. You love sushi, right? And you find the absolute best sushi spot ever, right next door. Why bother wasting time trying out 20 other places in the city when you already have the best sushi right here? She paused for a moment, then said, well, maybe to try out different sushi places. But I was like, but why go somewhere else when you already know this place is the bomb? Will it make you happy or satisfied? I asked sarcastically. Of course not, you just go try other places. If you think another place could be better than the one you love, I don't get it, she said, looking a bit upset. If it's just about sex, why would you want it with someone else? If you're happy with our sex life and I satisfy you, then why not just have sex with me? We hardly ever do it, so if you just want more, why not just tell me? If we have more sex, we can do it more often, but no, you'd rather do it with someone else who might be better or worse. Obviously, you want to do it with someone else because it's not just about sex, or you're not satisfied with sex with me. Do you think he can be better? I don't know, she answered, looking confused. You confuse me, but that's not true. Okay, so it's just sex, right? Yes, how many times do I have to say it? Yes, it's just sex, okay. If that's true, then I have a solution, I grinned. She seemed to perk up. She looked hopeful and said, if all you want is sex, I'm down for it. She seemed surprised when I asked, are you sure? Yes, she replied. I'll find a guy to come over and hook up with you. He'll be good at pleasing women. I'll make sure he has a clean bill of health so you can do it raw. It'll be just simple sex. Are you out of your mind? I responded. It's just sex, so why does it matter who it's with? Actually, this is a better option since he's just some random guy you won't even recognize, so why risk getting physical and catching feelings? People talk about me like I'm easy, but I'm not down for hooking up with a total stranger. I need some sort of connection before getting down and dirty. I'm not just a piece of ass, you know. I need that spark, that chemistry. It's not just about the sex. You want more than just a quick fling, you want to connect with someone on a deeper level. Her face got all red again and she couldn't respond. Finally, she said, okay, maybe that's partly true, but that doesn't mean anything. I couldn't help but laugh. What, this means nothing? To whom does this mean nothing? For me? For him? We both know it's just a flirty thing. He knows that I love you and I'm not looking for anything like that. Do you really believe that this means nothing to you? I know that if it doesn't mean anything, then why do it, huh? Maggie, your words don't make any sense. Why would you do that? If it doesn't mean anything, then why bother doing it? You only want to do it because it actually means something. She put her head in her hands and groaned, saying it doesn't mean anything to her, but it does to me. You know that sex is the most intimate thing between us since we got married. We agreed to only share that intimacy with each other. But now you want to throw it all away just to experiment with someone else, to explore that intimacy with someone new. If you're looking to hook up with someone else because you're not happy with our relationship or our sex life, just say it. Don't try to pretend it's about something else, she said. Are you hoping to sleep with him just to prove he's not better than me? I replied bluntly. Of course not, she responded. You wouldn't even consider it if you thought it could be worse than what we have. You're only thinking about it because you suspect it might be better. Man, I'm already thinking about how great this could be. I don't know, she shouted, I never thought about it like that. You've completely thrown me off. What happens when you finish and come to my house after? He's better than me, have you thought about that? She started but then hesitated. I never even considered it. What do you mean? How can you expect your feelings for me to be the same after you've had the best sex with someone else? You claim you're doing this to spice up our sex life, but if he's better than me, you'll never want to have sex with me again. You'll want to bring him with you again, you'll miss him. And the worst part is, I'll know you want him when you're with me. How can we keep going like this? We'll just carry on like nothing's changed. But how can I keep going like this, Maggie? How can I keep going knowing I don't make you happy enough to stay home? How can I kiss you knowing another man kissed you and you enjoyed it more than kissing me? How can I touch you knowing you prefer his touch? How am I supposed to have sex with you again when I know you like someone else more than me? How can I make love to you knowing you're thinking about him the whole time? If having sex with him is better than with me, how can you be happy with me? I didn't marry you to be second best to someone else. But if that's not the case, why do you want this? Because you think it will be mind-blowing amazing sex. Man, this is totally different from anything we've ever done together. If you don't feel the same way, you won't even give it a second thought. When she didn't respond, I just kept going. And you know what's the worst part? There's no way I can come out on top in this situation. I think you're amazing and stunningly beautiful. All I ever wanted was to have a physical connection with you. I love making you happy. I thought we had mind-blowing sex and that we were great together. We both wanted this so much, but you shut it down. It doesn't matter if we are good or bad together, you have this idea in your head that things will be amazing with someone else. Trying something new, sneaking around with someone else, and taking risks all get you excited. Even if we gave you the same pleasure, you'd still come back to reality and think you'd be better off with him, even if he's not as good. You might still think he's better than me, I can't compete, he always wins. She just stared at me, unable to say a word. I was so angry. Who the hell filled your head with all this crap, George? Please, Maggie, back off, George. No, I'm serious, back off, this is ridiculous. Come on, that's bullshit. I ain't never gonna be cool with you seeing someone else. I'm not gonna just chill at home while you're out there having a blast with your side piece. And hell no, I ain't gonna let some other dude get with you and make me look like a fool. You ain't the same woman I married 20 years ago, you're acting all crazy now. She was totally taken aback, I've never been this blunt with her before. George, you're going way overboard, she said, tears rolling down her face. No, that's not. Seriously, I told you calmly, my voice like ice. You're reacting so weakly, just get out of my house. I don't want you here anymore. You're right, we won't last long, we won't even make it to 20 years. It's over now. The fact that you even suggested such a stupid idea shows me that you've already deceived yourself, if not physically then mentally and emotionally. So just move on, go away, leave now. I'm not going anywhere, she said defiantly. This is ridiculous, I live here, I'm your wife. We live here, you can't tell me where to go. Just calm down. Let's talk about this like grown-ups, all right? Okay, then stay here. I grabbed my keys and wallet from the counter and headed through the kitchen to the garage. Where are you going? She asked, sounding desperate. She cried, looking at me in shock. Anywhere but here, it stinks here. Please, don't go, George. Talk to me. We can work this out. I stopped and looked at her. I'll give you one chance to stop me. I'll stay if you swear to me that you'll never bring up this idea or anything like it again. And that you'll never date anyone. Look, I need you to promise me that you'll never cheat on me and that you'll always be loyal and committed to me, just like we promised on our wedding day. I don't ever want you to even think about being with someone else. I could see the conflict in her eyes, she was angry and on the brink of losing it. George, please, she begged. I think this could really help us. But I shook my head, opening the garage door. Maggie yelled for me to stop, pleading with me to stay and promising she wouldn't bring it up again. Hey, please don't leave yet. I turned back around because there's something else I gotta say. I don't know who's been putting ideas in your head, but I'll figure it out. If I find out you've been seeing someone or sleeping with someone, I'm definitely divorcing you. We are not together, George. We didn't do anything, but we are still together. Fine, go have fun with your boyfriend. You probably already have. And no, I swear if you want to fix things between us. Hey, don't lie to me anymore. No more secrets, no more cheating, none of that, George. I can't believe we were just discussing this. You were talking to another dude about hooking up with him. This whole situation just confirms what I suspected. You weren't just asking for sex, you wanted my approval to sleep with some guy you already had set up. It's disgusting. I told her, and it made her cry even more. I can't even stand to look at you right now. I'm sorry, George. I didn't see this coming. So, he said that to me and at first I was kind of mad, but then I realized he was right. I was disappointed. Who does he think he is? She paused, then looked over at the garage door. Instead of telling me everything, you'd rather talk to him than me, Stephen. She said it was Stephen Archer, the consultant you've been seeing for a while now. The guy you introduced me to at Holland's dinner party. Yeah, that guy. We worked closely and got to know each other. I needed to take a seat. I closed the door, went back to the table, and sat down. Hey Maggie, spill the beans. I want to know all the details. What did you say, what did you do, and what do you know about this? She just nodded. Can I take a seat? She asked. This is still your place, she nodded again and sat down. And then she started explaining how we ended up in this mess. I sat there for the next 2 hours listening to my wife babble on about Stephen Archer and how he's been trying to charm her for months now. He's been slowly brainwashing her into seeing things his way, but he's not pushing too hard. She didn't push too hard or try anything too obvious because she knew she was smart enough to figure out if he did. Up until now, they had only talked and she never even kissed him. This was all part of his plan to avoid making any direct moves for physical contact. She thought his intentions were genuine as he was waiting for her to make the first move. By the time she finished telling her story, I was convinced of two things: my marriage was probably over even if she never talked to Stephen again, and Stephen had to pay for what he was doing. I needed a plan to handle both situations, but I had no clue what to do about either. I needed to stall for time. "Are you still upset with me?" Maggie asked. "Maggie, I don't even know how I feel," I told her. "It's hard to explain in words. A big part of me is upset and angry that you would even entertain Stephen's suggestion. If you wanted to add some excitement to our sex life, that is definitely not the way to go. There are plenty of other things we could try first, like not rejecting me every time I make a move." Naughty Maggie looked all down and sad. I let out a sigh. The other side of me feels sorry for you getting played by some slick manipulator. That part of me wants to believe you're innocent and move on with our lives. "I really want that," Maggie replied with a smile. "Can we just forget about this and move on?" "No, we can't," I answered honestly. "There's still a part of me that wants to walk away and never look back. I might be able to forgive you eventually, but it's gonna take some time and effort on your end." Maggie nodded and then asked, "Is there any part of you that even thought the idea was sexy or funny?" "Oh my God, Maggie," I shouted. "Are you seriously asking me this after everything I said?" "I'm sorry," she said, lowering her eyes in shame. "I'm sorry. So what happens now?" "Honestly, I don't know," I answered. "I need time to think about what I want to do with this. The fact that you're still considering it tells me a lot about you. I'm really sorry. Please tell me you still don't want to get a divorce." "I don't know," I replied. "But I guess it's up to you. Listen, if I catch you lying to me, I'm gonna divorce you. And if you don't give Stephen the full story, I'll divorce you too. He's gonna ask, what should I say? You gotta figure out what to tell him. Do you guys chat outside of work? Call, text, online?" "Nope, just a bit. She said we mostly talk at work. Stephen made it clear we shouldn't talk outside the office. But I know he's gonna bring it up soon. Man, I don't know what to say about this situation tomorrow. Should I just tell him to drop it and never bring it up again?" "Hell yeah, I should," I said, thinking about how to get back at the guy who tried to hit on my wife. Turns out, he's married. I asked Maggie if she knew, and she nodded, saying that their second kid was born a few months ago. "Oh my God, Maggie," I exclaimed. "He just had a baby and you were gonna hook up with him. What about his wife and their family? Did you even think about them?" She told me that she didn't care if he was fooling around. "All right, so they are in an open marriage and you actually believed him." She blushed, and I could tell she was starting to realize how dumb she had been. "Yeah, I guess I wanted to believe him too. But now I see how stupid that was." "Maggie," I said, looking her straight in the eye, "if we want to make this marriage work, you gotta have my back. No matter what I do, no matter what I say, you need to be on my side. If you hesitate or take his side, then forget it. We can just get a divorce and call it quits. I'm on your team, babe." Maggie reassured me. "I swear, you and our daughter are all that matter to me." "Wait here for me," I said as I stood up and grabbed my laptop. I brought it over and opened it as I sat down next to my wife. "Have you ever checked out his Facebook page?" she asked. "Yeah, I've looked at it a few times, but he's not really active on social media," she explained. I slid the laptop over to her and asked her to find his page. She typed a little and then said, "Here he is." There wasn't much info available to the public on his page: no relationship status, no family photos, not even a link to his wife. I went to LinkedIn and started searching for him. Steve Archer really hit the jackpot. He was way more chatty there than on Facebook. "Do you know the name of his wife?" I asked Janet. Maggie answered, I did a quick search for Janet Archer and found two. Do you know if she's a real estate agent or a recruiter? He told me she runs a fancy real estate agency that deals with multimillion-dollar homes. Maggie replied. I clicked on the realtor link, her profile opened and the gorgeous young blonde smiled back at us. That's her? I asked, looking at the smoking hot wife of my middle-aged friend's future. Girl, I don't buy it, Maggie replied. I've never seen a picture of her, but this chick doesn't match the description he gave me. He said she was an old, chubby, unattractive lady. I chuckled. Well, surprise surprise. This Janet Archer is actually young, fit, and drop-dead gorgeous. I checked out her Facebook page and said, according to her profile, she's married to some dude named Steve and has two daughters, Selena and Catherine. Maggie nodded. Yep, those are Steven's daughters' names, for sure. I was scrolling through and saw a bunch of pics of the Happ family. Some were from a cheerleading comp with Janet and her daughters and Steve standing there smiling. Maggie gasped, it's him. I reassured her, showing her pics of Steve and his wife. Why would he bother with you when he's got a hot wife at home? She looked offended. I don't know, she said, looking unsure. I'm crying again, this is not what he told me about her. You said they have an open marriage, right? She asked. That's exactly what he told me, Maggie answered, not very confidently. I found some pictures of Janet in a bikini and whistled. Maybe I overreacted, I said, looking at Janet Archer's beautiful face. Maybe I'm looking at this all wrong. What do you mean? Asked Maggie. Do you have his phone number? She asked. Maggie stared at me nervously. You're not going to call him, are you? Well, I answered, this is true, Maggie. Wait, I'm shocked. I can't believe it. You said you were on my side. I told you that you should have my back no matter what I do, right? She nodded in agreement. So, are you with me or not? Yes, she admitted. Okay, then call him, I said. Okay, I'll do it, Maggie agreed, but hesitated. Before I do this, can I ask why? I smiled. Well, Stephen is trying to get with my wife, I explained. Maggie nodded. So, if I let him have you, isn't it fair that I get his wife? Wait, what? Maggie exclaimed. Do you want to seduce his wife? Well, just look at her, I said, pointing to a photo of Janet. Wow, that Archer chick in that tiny bikini is smoking hot. This should never happen, Maggie said. I laughed. You said you wanted to spice up our sex life, right? Yes, Maggie said, crossing her arms. I did. And you were going to do that by having fun with Stephen. Well, wouldn't it be even more interesting if I also had sex with his wife? I mean, you did say they have an open marriage, I explained. Yes, but... Maggie muttered. It's not like you had sex with some random person. Oh, wait, I said, grinning. Is she a swinger? That's what makes her hot. Okay, so she's married to Stephen but can hook up with other guys. You're married to me and you want the same freedom. Doesn't that make you feel some type of way? Maggie just looked at me and said, no, it's not the same thing. I asked her why not. I mean, how are me and Janet different from you and Stephen? She's too pretty, Maggie said. So it's fine if I pick someone who's not as good looking? She asked. No, that's not what I meant, Maggie replied, looking almost defeated. It's like, are you scared I'll like sex with someone else too much? Or that once I'm with her, I won't want you anymore? Maybe you're worried I'll think about her when I'm with you. Hell yes, Maggie admitted. I get it now. I see what you're up to. We said we'd forget everything, but that was before I saw what she looked like and really thought about your suggestion. So, because you think you can charm a hottie? Girl, you think I can hook up with Stephen? Hell yes, I said enthusiastically. Why not? You're such a jerk, Maggie said. Wait, am I a jerk because I want Janet? It was you who wanted to try someone else. I just went along with what you wanted. No, you're trying to ruin what I wanted. So, you wanted to have fun with others but you don't want me to do the same. You're just trying to confuse me. I told you it's not like that, Maggie said on the verge of tears. Again, Maggie, calm down and let's talk about this like adults. I'm like, using her own words against her, I'm starting to see that this could actually be good for us. I really didn't want to do this, Maggie said, you talked me into it. I agreed that it was a mistake. This is a mistake. Let's just forget about everything. Take your time. I found his number and started dialing Maggie's phone, saying, let's call your lover and see what he says. But then Maggie screamed, hang up. Don't call him. I quietly told my wife to shut up and reassured her, it's okay, honey. The phone is already ringing. And then I put the phone down. I put Maggie on speaker so she could hear both of us talking. I told her not to call me at home. I answered the phone, hello, is this Steve St. Archer, speaking slowly and clearly. There was a long pause, then a click and the call got cut off. That's weird, I said to my wife. The call got disconnected. I'll call back. Maggie tried to grab the phone, but I stopped her. Please don't do this, I said quietly, putting the phone away. You might regret it. I don't know. Then, the phone rang again. Hello, Stephen, this is Maggie's husband. Hey, you there? Yeah, I'm here. What's up? Stephen asked, sounding worried. Oh, is this a bad time? She asked. What do you want? He repeated, sounding even more pissed off. Well, Maggie told me you asked her out on a date, I started. There was a pause on the other end of the line for a few seconds. And he finally said. I think it's a great idea, I replied. Maggie tried to cut in, but I hushed her and kept going. I mean, with some ground rules and stuff, of course. Ground rules and stuff? Stephen asked, sounding confused. Yeah. I said, if you're gonna mess around with my wife, I want to make sure it's all out in the open, no secrets, right? Stephen hesitantly replied, yeah, maybe. He didn't sound too sure of himself. I mean, we don't want to mess up a marriage with lies and deceit. I love Maggie and don't want to lose her, so I agreed, as long as we are all open and honest about everything and we all know what's going on. Cool? She asked. Yeah, sure, Stephen answered. It makes sense. Maggie looked shocked and shook her head when I glanced at her. So, this dude was like a baby, I ain't down for this, and I just brushed it off like no big deal. I kept talking to Stephen and then he hits me with a why don't you chase after Janet and put her on speakerphone. I was like, what? Why don't you call your wife, you know, Janet, the mother of your two girls Selena and Catherine, the woman you're in an open relationship with, so she can hear everything. Stephen was like, listen here. And I interrupted him like, Stephen, hold up, Yo, so I straight up told him that Maggie spilled the tea about you and Janet having an open marriage, not giving a damn about who hooks up with who. We were creeping on her bikini pics on Facebook and I gotta admit, I'm down to get it on with her while you get cozy with my wife. Dude was like, what the hell are you doing, all freaked out. I told him I'll entertain Janet, and you can entertain my wife, like that's just how it goes in an open marriage, right? Wife swap and all that. But then he starts getting all defensive, like, don't bring my wife into this. So I was like, chill, Stephen, my man, it's too late for that. You've already crossed the line. Bro, I've been trying to get with my wife for the past few months. Wasn't Janet pregnant with Selena for most of that time? Congrats on the baby, though. I bet Janet is back to her old self and ready for me to pop the question. Shut the hell up, he yelled. I told you not to bring Janet into this. Oh, wait, are you saying she doesn't know you want to hook up with Maggie? I thought you guys were in an open relationship. I glanced at Maggie, who was covering her face and crying. In the background, I heard a woman's voice asking, honey, what's going on? Who is this nobody? All good, get the girls ready to go, Stephen said to his wife. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, today is a big day. Catherine has a cheerleading tournament this afternoon. How the hell do you know that? He asked. It's crazy how much you can find out on Facebook, I laughed. I have a thought, why don't Maggie and I meet you and Janet at the tournament? We can fill her in on everything she missed. And then we can all head to the bar. Let's grab some drinks, get to know each other, and then come back here to party all night. I'll even let you and Maggie crash in the master bedroom, Stephen said angrily into the phone. Then, in a hushed tone, he warned, "Listen, stay away from my wife and kids. I'll knock you out if I catch you near them." I warned Stephen to not be so upset. "You agreed that we wouldn't keep any secrets and that everyone should know what we are up to, including Janet, right? Don't test me," he yelled. "Don't ever call me again." "Fine, I'll just call Janet." Stephen shouted, "Wait, where did you get her number, Steve?" "It doesn't matter," I told him. "It's important that everyone knows what you did and what your intentions were towards my wife." There was a long pause, then he said, "I want you to stay away from my wife. If I hear that you were in the same room with her, I will go to Janet and tell her everything you did." "Understood." "I understand," he answered humbly. "We work together, I don't know if I can avoid her completely. Maggie will be on vacation. So, for the next 2 weeks, I told him that when she comes back, you'll have to switch to a different company. You're a consultant, so just tell your bosses that one of the women has been getting too friendly with you and for the sake of the business, you should be transferred. I promise they'll get you out of there before she returns." "What if I don't do this?" he asked. I looked at my wife Maggie and said, "Call Janet and spill the beans." She looked at me in disbelief. Of course, I was just bluffing. I didn't even have Janet's number. Hey, Stephen didn't realize that I signaled for Maggie to go along with it. "Okay, honey," she said, crying. "Wait," Stephen yelled. "Okay, I'll explain everything tomorrow morning." "Okay," I replied. "You're not as clueless as Maggie thinks." Finally, I told Stephen that Maggie could hear him and to apologize to my wife. I could see that Stephen was pissed. He took a deep breath and quickly said sorry to Maggie before she could say anything. I warned him not to mess with my wife again and told him to get ready to take his family to the cheerleading tournament. "Good luck, Catherine." I slammed the phone down on the counter and turned to Maggie. She was looking at me with sad eyes. "I'm really sorry," she started to say, but I cut her off. "Tomorrow you gotta call your boss and say you have a family emergency and need 2 weeks off," I told her. She looked down and nodded. "Make sure to like and subscribe so your partner doesn't cheat on you again. And stay tuned for the next story, cause this one ain't nothing compared to what's coming next if you can handle it. Hey, don't even think about tuning into the next one when you're 18.